And welcome everyone to the SUCCESSFIT team call November 2nd. And I think we should all be really excited. October was a really awesome month for us, and November has been like shot out like a bang because everyone was really ready for quarter force, I think. But tonight we're talking all about Shakeology, and I'm obviously really excited about this call because it's my sister who's going to be our featured keynote speaker tonight, April. And you know, she's a naturopathic nutritionist. Her partner's a naturopath. She has been living in Australia for the last over a decade, but we have her back in Canada now for the time being, which is why this call is possible. And after I started drinking Shakeology, when I was considering becoming a coach, I did consult with her beforehand because I thought it was really important that what I was drinking and what I was going to try to share with other people was something that was good quality. And because of April, because of all this, her passion for this, and how there's people who, you get into a career or something because this is just the career you've chosen. And then there's other people who are just really, really passionate about it. I always think that in teachers, for example. There's teachers who really should be teachers because they're so passionate about kids and learning. And there's teachers who you're like, maybe not. I'm sure you teachers know what I'm talking about. But April is I feel like she was meant for this because her passion for the ingredients, even when we were talking about this for nutrition, how it heals, how it helps, and making it a part of your life is it's so real. And I think you'll hear that tonight. But I'm really excited to welcome her. I think we took into consideration everyone's questions. A lot of them obviously were quite similar, which was nice. So we want to try to cover everything, but we'll cover kind of the main topics. And then if you have any other questions, feel free to either ask or pop them into the chat so we can try to get to them at the end if it's something different. But without further ado, I want to welcome my sister April onto the call tonight. And thanks for being here.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Nice to be here. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this before, so excuse me if I seem a little nervous. I'm literally downstairs in my mother's basement right now, hiding away from my 3 children, and hoping I don't screw this up. So
no, there's nothing. It's very casual. Just 3 boys, and I think I said that she's a Derby fan, and I used to ruin all her clothes. So there's the good quick one on our sisterhood. But so we thought what we would do is start off by talking, more specifically about what Shakeology is, because I think, for me as a new coach too, it was I knew that I liked it. I knew that I liked what it tasted. I knew that how it made me feel, but I didn't know a lot of the whys around it. I was just quite happy to keep drinking it because it was good and worked in my life. So maybe we'll just start and have April do kind of an overview of what Shakeology is and why it's good for you. Beyond the whole tagline of most nutritious meal of the day or your daily dose of dense nutrition.
Your daily dose of dense superfood nutrition. It's funny, whenever I do the workouts and I hear I'm doing the 21-day fix, and whenever I hear good old Autumn make her comment about, your daily dose of dense superfood nutrition, I actually think she's right. It is literally, the healthiest thing you'll eat because in the day, because even if you wanted to try and even if you have a very good diet and you're doing your best to eat good, clean, whole foods, you still are not going to get everything that it has in it. It's kind of really nice. It's, you just, most of the time we're so busy and we spend, a lot of time trying to do as much meal preparation as possible. It's really difficult to get what you can get out of this. I mean, the other day I was at a party and I was had a new friend there that I had just met over the last few weeks, and every time I see her, I've seen her only a handful of times. She's always talking she's she's so focused on her weight, and she going on and on about how she's overweight, she's not normally like this, and she's sort of continuing on with it, and it was. And, her opener with when at this party was that she needed to have this microwaved bag of popcorn because it was because otherwise she'd eat everything else. And at the time I thought, well, you're kind of better to eat everything else here than this horrible microwave bag of popcorn. And she was like, oh, I'm hungry all the time. And I was like, well, you're hungry all the time because you're eating empty food. most people, they just eat rubbish food. I mean, we're not really taught how to eat in school. They kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown of some fruits, of some veggies, but we're not given anything major in regards to how you're supposed to eat. So, but that's it. Like, people do get, she's hungry all the time because she's literally eating empty food. So your body then starts to crave nutrients. So the one thing that I kind of leads me then to Shakeology is that Shakeology is, one of the first things you hear people say is, oh, well, I don't have having cravings for sweet things, like I'm full. And it's Shakeology, when I started going through all the ingredients, it's, Shakeology isn't making you full because it has fillers in it, which a lot of other products do. Like, it's not chock full of psyllium husk that then makes you feel full. You're full because it's got so many nutrients in it that it actually fulfills your requirements, so your body doesn't crave more food. And that, I think, is a massive plus, because again, like, you're on the go, you got things going on, to be able to just chuck together a smoothie and know that you're getting like all these wonderful whole foods. So, I mean, I've been a nutritionist for well over a decade, but I've also studied herbal medicine. And the one thing that I also really love about Shakeology is the fact that it's got all these amazing herbs in it. And herbs, I suppose, to North Americans, herbs to us in Australia. And yeah, really fantastic herbs in there. So not only you've got your whole foods, and you've got all your good quality nutrients, your proteins, and everything else, but you've got this whole broad spectrum of herbs that then focus on you've got quite a few adaptogens, which is, again, something you just don't find in other products. They don't think to add these things. Now, adaptogens are herbs that will basically help your body to balance itself out, because we have a lot of stress in our life, whether it's emotional stress or daily stress, but even stress from working out. I mean, it's let's face it, like, most of us, we come from a very sedentary society, and there are people who, are only starting to work out, and, they've spent, 10, 20, 30 years, like, sitting on their butts. The last time they ran around was when they were a kid, so it's, to start working out again is actually creating a lot of stress. But, so to balance out that stress, they've actually put these herbs in there so that your body is able to cope, and it sort of helps with any sort of stress hormones that your body deals with, but it balances things out so that your body is able to cope and you don't feel the stress that you would on a daily basis. So that I thought was really amazing, like things like withania and schizandra, and a lot of those herbs actually even have detoxification aspects to it. So besides your, I had to write down my notes here to keep myself going here. So, but yeah, then not only have you got your adaptogens, but you've got things to boost your immune system, which again is great because you're working out, you're busy. Like, if you're a parent or you're not a parent, you're just running around and you're trying to live life day to day. Life takes its toll. Like, plus, we're now heading into winter, so flu season is upon us. It's really helps to be able to boost your immune system, and not just through all the great nutrients that are available, but again, with like these herbs that will help to help balance, with all the sort of daily grind that you're faced with. So
I love it. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like that was something we talked about yesterday, that you'd said, like, when we were talking about the herbs being, and we'll get into it, being like one of the most unique things about Shakeology. It's the one thing you won't find in any of the other shakes that I know we run into all the time. But I love that what you said about that stress, about the adaptogens, how they adapt to our body and help us manage that stress. And I feel like for us, when we're talking to customers, that's a key thing, because it really does. It's not just something that is going to be like satisfy you and allow you to have, a quick meal on the run. But the fact of the matter is that it actually supports your transformation. So more than just someone investing in Shakeology, I always notice my challengers who drink Shakeology get better results. And I think it's because they stay on, because they're not so sore, they're not so exhausted, because they now have something that's supported the stress that their body goes through, and we're trying to change it. And I didn't even know that. Like, I don't know if you guys all knew that, but that was something really new to me. And also helps with the stress of our life. Like, I've had other coaches say, and customers say, like, I don't know what I would do without Shakeology. Like, it helps me so much just functioning in daily life. And that's clearly why.
Yeah, because you've just got those. I mean, but yeah, because it really just helps with your recovery. It helps with your immune system. It helps with energy levels. But it's not helping with energy levels through using things like caffeine, which a lot of supplements, a lot of these supplements do. It's actually, again, relying on like these like really dense like superfood nutrition. So you're getting like, and you may notice when you're looking at the back of the package, it's got like your the recommended daily value. Well, that's sort of like the base in nutrition. That's like the base minimum to prevent deficiency. So you'll find a lot of that's even higher than that is, but you'll fill those gaps in with regular food as you go. But yeah, so some of the ingredients besides that, when you look at the ingredients of again with Shakeology, you've got all your fantastic herbs, but then what also sort of sets it apart, and when we're looking at, because there was a question, some questions in regards to how it compares to some of the other products that are out there. So I had a look at some of the other products to see what there were, and we're looking at like the isogenics programs or the food programs and the Vega One. So I mean, starting with Vega One, the Vega One. It's a nice little formula. I'm not going to bag it out because really it's a nice formula, but it's about a third of what Shakeology has to offer. And, pardon?
Hence the price, I guess, right? There's a price.
Well, yeah, but when you break down the price actually doesn't differ that much from Shakeology because the packaging is smaller. Right. And the serving size is bigger. So I think actually when I looked at it, in comparison, like again, you've got, it's got some good stuff in it, but it's only whole foods. There are no herbs in there. So you're getting like your protein, and you're getting, so your organic broccoli and your organic carrots and stuff like that, which again, they're cheap, cheaper ingredients. So it makes it easy to somebody's, I think, just written something.
Erica asked specifically about, is Vega One just a third of the superfoods? Okay, also, okay, so she's just asking more specifics. It doesn't have all the same superfoods. I do know that. No, the ingredients.
Definitely not. No, it definitely has, it has some superfoods, but it's a much smaller portion of what Shakeology has. Shakeology sort of goes above and beyond what I have seen in a lot of the other supplements. But again, so price wise, if people are concerned about the price, Shakeology may be a bit more expensive. You're definitely getting more bang for your buck. But when you break it down, like I think the price I was looking at for Vega One was around $80 Canadian, but it was only 876 grams, whereas like a bag of Shakeology is well over a kilo. So when you break down the actual pricing of the serving size, I think Vega One was at least $4.20 per serve, whereas just Shakeology.
Right, and and we also said there was no pro or prebiotics in Vega One, right? Didn't we notice that?
No, I think it's just primarily just whole foods and superfoods, so good, but again, like at a very much smaller scale than you don't get the wide variety that the Shakeology adds. Now the isogenics ones, the isogenic one, to be honest, isogenics just a pile of crap. When I read it, the ingredients awful, and you've got the difference to one of the other major differences I noticed is that Shakeology uses what's called a whey protein isolate. So an isolate is more expensive. It's more expensive because it has been manufactured more, but sort of broken down so that your body is able to digest it more. It is a higher level of level and quantity of protein. It doesn't have as much carbohydrate or fat, and it has a much lower level of lactose. So for people who have any sort of sensitivity, obviously that will still be an issue because it's still a whey protein, but it's much better when it comes to using straight after working out as well. It's just more bioavailable. You're able to get to it, or it absorbs a lot better. But so Isogenics, that company uses a concentrate, so it's once again cheaper ingredients. But then when you go through they've just got things like sunflower oil. I think fructose is their fourth ingredient. It's much, I think you've got the level of sugars in it are a lot higher. It was, when I read it, I was just and I think their price is a lot higher. So you're paying for total rubbish. I wouldn't even bother. It's not even, it doesn't compare to Shakeology in any sort of way.
It's not even the same thing.
No, it's not. They try and tout it like as being very, very similar, but yeah, it's the quality of the nutrients. It's like it comes down really to the quality of the nutrients. I think that there's more. You can just get the protein, but I'm pretty sure there's other ones that they're meant to have like some more bits to it. But it's not really in the same category as Shakeology when it comes to these things.
I think isogenics is like a nutritional system. Like they have one type of shake, but then they have other things. Like ideally when you're on the isogenics like challenge or whatever, there's multiple things you're drinking throughout the day, but it's not a lot of food, which is really not sustainable or healthy.
No.
But just to kind of boil it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say like whole foods and whole herbs like far surpass, the bits and pieces that they put in there. It's just, I just feel like it doesn't compare in any sort of way. So yeah.
So when you break it down, like I have heard this over and over, and I've even looked at all the shakes, and talked to April about this over the years. Like in terms of quality, Vega One is the only thing out there that it has the same type of quality of ingredient as Shakeology. But like and I always looked at isogenics and Shakeology as like apples and oranges. Like they don't even serve the same purpose. It's not even the same goal. But when you compare,
it's like going to a doctor compared to a naturopath, I think.
They're just very, very different. And right, I see what you're saying. Like more chemical versus. Whereas with Shakeology versus Vega One, like what Vega One's a nice it's a nice meal, but you're not getting something that is then going to support like even your gut flora and support your workout and the stress of the environment and your overall immune system that way.
Yeah. Because again, with your Shakeology, you're getting your prebiotics, feed your probiotics. So gut health is massive. Gut health, the gut-brain connection is huge. The gut immune system connection is huge. One dose of antibiotics can wipe you out for months because it takes that long to get your good gut flora going. So if you're having this on a daily basis, then the prebiotics in there actually feed your good gut flora, and then you've got the probiotics to help flourish as well. So that alone will help boost your immune system. So, which then keeps you on an optimum level, keeps you your body repairing as it should, which will give you better results right away. So. Yeah. The other thing actually I thought was really clever with Shakeology is, with the one that has the whey concentrate, so not the vegan one, but the one with the whey concentrate also has a pea protein. Pea protein actually has high levels of lysine in it, and lysine is a precursor to the amino acid carnitine. Carnitine is an amino acid that uses the fatty acids in your body as energy, so it's actually a fat burner. So by them putting in the pea protein as well as the whey protein, they're actually you're getting your extra protein, but you're also getting a hidden fat burner in there too that I think most people just wouldn't be aware of. So, digesting protein on its own takes a lot, because protein takes a lot longer to actually digest. So it requires a lot more energy, which then actually burns a lot more fat. But it's nice to know that they've got those other little tricky bits in there then that are going to help to burn fat even more. That I thought was kind of cool. That was really cool. So what else was I going to talk about these things? I had MSM is in there. I love the fact that I don't know if those little bits and pieces are going to help anybody at all, but I love the fact that MSM, they've got a bit of MSM in there, which is the methylsulfonylmethane. You've got people like Dr. McCullough and David Wolf who really tout it. It's a sulfur compound, which it really helps to bring down inflammation. It's a detoxifier, but the bringing down inflammation is a big one too, because again, as you're working out, there's stress on your joints, there's stress on your muscles. That helps to bring down the inflammation and again help your body to repair and to recover a lot quicker when you're working out, so you can maximize your results. MSM, no. I think there's probably been some sulfur compound. If somebody was asking, I can see them there. No, MSM is it's just a sulfur compound, and you'll often find it in formulas like glucosamine and chondroitin with MSM. But there are people who take it solely just on its own, and it works to detoxify your body. But it's primarily used. It's great for your joints, things as well, because it brings down that level of inflammation. it makes it really handy. So, yeah. So what else I think is good for your immune system as well.
We were, it was neat because when April and I were just sitting yesterday, she like picked up the bag for me and was like, literally, like for me, I can read through all these ingredients and it's great, but she could be like, oh, bilberry, that's good for this. Oh, flax, that's good. That's why they would put this in there. And it was a really neat thing to be like, everything that's in there seems to serve a purpose, a nutritional purpose. Like there isn't any filler in there is what was a big thing to kind of realize.
Yeah, no, you'll find again, like, in a lot of the competitors, there are fillers. There are things there to sort of bulk it up. But this is like, when it comes down, every single thing has been really well thought out, actually. And I'm not just saying it's to toot its horn, because it's Shakeology, like I like it. It's actually like when you read through the ingredients, they've all been really well thought out. And
it's cohesive. Is that a way of saying it? Like all the ingredients work together and there's like symbiotic.
Yeah, exactly. I think they are clear. There's a lot of symbiosis to it. Cool. I know there's a question about breastfeeding. So I actually had Shakeology when I was breastfeeding. I'm still actually breastfeeding, not to the same extent. My child's over 2 years old now, but I'm still breastfeeding. But I was having Shakeology when he was quite a bit younger, and I know it specifically sort of says on the label, that it's sort of not recommended. I think that's something, if you're talking to people, and they put it on there ultimately for liability, because each person is different. Your body at the beginning, once you give birth, your body's producing all this milk, and your nutrient levels go up considerably. So I found it really great because it actually provided a lot. You're so tired and you're focused so much on your child. Half the time you don't even focus on yourself. So it was good to know that I was actually getting all these nutrients. But I do know that it says, not recommended, but I actually believe when I look at all the ingredients, there's nothing that's contraindicated for breastfeeding. Normally the herbs that are or nutrients that are contraindicated in breastfeeding all have to do with actually drying up the milk supply, which there aren't any in there that would actually do that. So I don't believe, I don't think that there's any issue. As I said, I actually had it myself because I felt confident in having it, and it really made a big difference because again, when you're breastfeeding, you're breastfeeding all the time, especially when you've got a newborn. There's a lot of demand on your body. And, you're trying to scramble, you're trying to eat food, you're trying to keep up with the amount of food and liquid that you need on a regular basis. Sorry, what was that? I actually don't. Do I need to press something to have all the proper questions up?
You might be able to say manage participants, but Alexis asked, why can't I take it when I'm pregnant? My naturopath told me not to take it. We talked about this.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it while you're pregnant either. I mean, because you've got all these, again, different herbs and things like that are great for, you've got a developing fetus in your body. And even though chances are a lot of the herbs won't have an effect, you're just better to, it's possible that there could be problems or that it could affect growth in some sort of way. It's best just to, when you're pregnant, you're best just to steer clear of anything that could be an issue and really just keep to whole foods and try and get as many nutrients as possible that way. Because I'm sure you'd have to go through, I think the herbs list of contraindicated herbs for pregnancy is vast and it's best just to stay clear of things like that. So
Chanel mentioned maca being a problem. The maca root.
Sorry?
Chanel mentioned the maca root maybe being a problem while you're pregnant.
When you're probably because of the the estrogenic I think effects of that. That's maca is really good for menopausal and perimenopausal women. So when anything that sort of can influence hormone levels, like soy, things like that, you're always best. Not that there's any soy in this, but you're always best to sort of steer clear of these things, and because it can sort of influence hormone levels and growth during pregnancy. So.
We figured in terms of the nursing, the breastfeeding bit, that likely because everybody is different and it's important to consult your healthcare, whoever, they probably put that on the label for liability purposes.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think it's liability purpose. And really, like, if you come across people who are breastfeeding, like, you really, I suppose, shouldn't, you can say, that people who have had it, that it's, it's got all these amazing nutrients, but they still really should consult their healthcare practitioner, because you don't want to be liable for any of these things.
Yes.
I don't believe anything would happen. Again, like, you're talking about all these wonderful whole foods and herbs that wouldn't have any sort of effect. As I said, I breastfed and had daily Shakeology, and have had no problems. And again, and I think it actually helped me. There was times where I was working as well as breastfeeding and getting zero sleep. And I would have people say to me, wow, you don't actually look tired at all. And I'd be like, well, I think that I'm very lucky that I have, got an excellent diet, which includes Shakeology, which is giving me all these amazing nutrients to help support my body through this, because it's, it can be very trying, though, because there's just a huge demand on your body at that time. So
I know a couple of people asked about giving it to your kids or your teens. We had some thoughts on that.
Yes. So, I give it to my children, but, anything when it comes to things, again, like, herbs and nutrients, everything when giving to children, you always give like a half dose. So with my guys, when I'll give them a shake in the morning, I don't give them every single day, of course, but, I'll give them every now and then, a few times a week, I'll give them a shake, but I would do 1 scoop for 2 kids, and even technically 3 kids, because I'll give my little guy, some as well. So, and yeah, they love it. It's filling, it tastes delicious. I know then they're getting a lot of good stuff in them as well. Because let's, face it, what are they getting? They can have toast for breakfast. You can try and shove some porridge or some like homemade stuff in them. But, kids can get picky and fussy, and they want things that taste good. Chocolate shakes are awesome, especially for breakfast. But if that chocolate shake's going to have all this awesome stuff in it, it does make a big difference. You can chuck a banana in there. You can add extra stuff, no problem. And but yeah, no, I think, and even with teenagers, like, see, my guys are 10 and 8, and they've been having it. They've been having it at least for a couple of years. So, but for teenagers, their bodies are still growing, but their nutrient requirements are so much more. And let's face it, teenagers eat rubbish most of the time. So I mean, it would be the healthiest thing they'd end up eating. You'd actually do them a favor.
So Christy asked, can you have it more than once a day? Like,
to be honest, I probably would I would stick to once a day. I mean, I guess you could, but I wouldn't, you still need to rely on having other sort of foods as well. I think you're better off, if you were desperate and, if you're sometimes, I know the great thing about Shakeology is, like, when you're traveling, you can take it with you. And I know, like, again, traveling around and trying to get half decent meal, so hard, then things like that. I think, then you could have a couple of times a day, but I think you're better off just having it like a once a day thing, to be honest.
It's all you really need. It gives you that full.
All you really need, because you've got all the nutrients in there that you don't really need to like double dip on those nutrients. You're getting heaps. So yes, I wouldn't, to be honest.
So I know we looked at Jody's question today about the synthroids, and I didn't know if you had any info on that for her. She's just asked about it to you.
Yeah, so I had a chance to have just a little look at it. Have what I can see, there are no contraindications with the Shakeology products. But what I would say is that that they should have Shakeology away from it, because you don't want any nutrients to affect the absorption of the actual what's called the synth. Oh, I read it. I should have it on my computer here. I was looking it up. But yeah, no, anyway, you don't want it to, there's definitely, I had a look at it. I spoke to my partner about it as well. As I said, he's a naturopath and master herbalist. And we didn't seem to find any contraindications with it, but I would say have it away from your Shakeology, and then you won't run into any problems with it. Type 2 diabetes. I think there was another question about that as well. I think type 2 diabetes, again, no issue. I wouldn't say there's any issues with that. But what I would recommend with people who have type 2 diabetes, because obviously you want to slow the absorption of nutrients as much as possible. This is a low glycemic food, so they don't need to worry too much about getting insulin spikes, but that's obviously an issue for diabetics. The best thing you can advise a diabetic is to include fat with their meal. Fat slows down the absorption and the digestion of food. So it makes, they'll be able to get as much out of it as possible. It won't affect their blood sugar levels. It's great. Like Shakeology has cinnamon in it, and cinnamon is specifically good for balancing blood sugar levels. But if they take, if they have I would recommend sort of a teaspoon to a tablespoon of coconut oil in with your shake. If you're blending it up in the blender, chuck in the coconut oil, and that will actually help again to slow down the absorption. You're getting a really good fat, and that fat, like coconut oil itself, is actually a medium chain triglyceride. So it's the first fat that's burned in your body as energy. It doesn't tend to be one that's stored in any sort of way. So you're not going to get fat from eating fat. I mean, the whole fat debate is something completely different. We can talk about that another day. But yeah, in terms of type 2 diabetes, type 1 is a little bit different. And I am not too sure at this point in time I'm too comfortable or confident in advising on type 1. I don't think there would be too much of an issue. But again, as long as you're because the sugar levels of sugars are quite low, but I'm not gonna advise on the type 1 until I can be confident about that one. I will speak to my partner on it. He's actually is an expert on diabetes. He's studied it for years and has written is in the process of publishing an ebook on it. So he'll have a little bit more information on type 1. I was just looking at type 2 when the questions came up. But definitely adding fat to that will slow down the absorption. No problems with having it.
Shelby had a good question, because I know we've talked about this before. Does heating it change the nutrition content? And we've talked about this even with the blender. So I'd love for you to talk about that. Yeah.
It can, yeah. Adding heat to nutrients can actually damage the nutrients. So I mean, I certainly wouldn't recommend making like a hot drink out of it. And even when it comes to I will blend up, when I make my Shakeology, I will blend up all my my shake, and then at the very end adds the Shakeology, so that even the friction from the blend from the blades of the blender don't compromise the nutrient integrity, because some of them can actually be affected. The heat and the friction can actually affect the nutrients, and then destroy some of them to a certain extent. Even a lot of the protein, it can kind of denature to a certain extent. And you want the most out of this because it's got so many amazing nutrients. You just want to be able to get the most out of it without compromising it in any sort of way.
Yeah, that was a big eye opener. I didn't know that. I remember you being like, "Don't over blend it." I was like, "But it's so rich and creamy when I blend it."
I know, you let it go and you let it go. I've yelled at Mom so many times. My mother leaves it on and leaves the room. I'm like, "What are you doing? Don't do it. You're gonna wreck it. Wreck all the good stuff. Don't wreck the nutrients." Because some of those, once you let the heat and the friction starts to affect it. So yeah.
So I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you going to say something?
No. Okay. I'm taking a breath.
I know. I feel like this has been a lot of great info, and it seems like we've gotten through a lot of questions. I don't know if anyone has any others that they want to pop up. Jamie asks, April, I'm thinking my mom should be drinking Shakeology while she's recovering from breast cancer.
Yeah. Again, the added nutrients would make a huge difference. Mm-hmm. I'm anything to do with cancer. I'm a big fan of juicing, to be honest, but juicing's not always easy and not always so portable. So I feel like, so it would be good. So there's a lot of really, again, you can't really put together a meal that's going to have as many nutrients in it as Shakeology does, which is great. So
anything. So, and then Jody asks, I had a challenger on antidepressants and felt her moods were drastically swinging when she started Shakeology. Is that possible? That you know?
No, I mean, I suppose it's possible, but chances are it's probably her body adjusting to antidepressants. Antidepressants are a whole other topic in itself, unfortunately. Yeah. So I'm, I suppose I don't know if it is, I guess it's, depending on the antidepressant that she was on, depending on how the body is reacting to it, but also depending on her needs for the antidepressant. It could be that, whether she had sometimes depression is because of a nutrient deficiency. If you're not getting enough, folic acid and B12, to balance out homocysteine levels and create, all the precursors to basically serotonin in your body, then that can throw things off. So it could be that, she had, a pretty terrible diet beforehand, and she, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stress, you whack on antidepressants. Like I'm theorizing here, of course, but you whack on antidepressants, but then you start having something like Shakeology, which is like about helping to balance your body out and which is giving you a lot of nutrients. Then there could be cause a bit of an imbalance, but it could just be her body trying to get used to an antidepressant. But yeah, so that's a tough one. I can't, it's hard to
too many variables.
Melinda, really knowing the information on it, to be honest. So
Melinda asked, she said, I'm trying to get my hubby to take it. He's been in severe leg pain. Chiropractor or massage isn't working. Not sure what's going on, but could it possibly help? I think maybe with the anti-inflammation.
Yeah. I mean, is he training? Or is this just a general pain that he's experiencing?
He was and had to quit. So I don't know if it's just, he's I don't know. He's waiting for an MRI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how long has it been going on for?
Probably since beginning of September.
Okay. Was there any sort of accidents or was it just that he sort of woke up one day and went, oh my gosh?
I think it probably happened at the gym.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he has, does he take any supplements or anything?
No.
And is it a chronic pain at this point in time, or is it something that just sort of comes and goes?
No, it's pretty chronic, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like he has maybe actually injured himself.
Yeah.
But certainly the Shakeology, yeah, would probably anything with a lot of anti-inflammatories, the the MSM in there, actually you should get on some turmeric. Turmeric's amazing. It's the best anti-inflammatory ever. And magnesium as well. Magnesium's a really good one too. But yeah, that will, if it's muscular in any sort of way, if his body needs to repair, the nutrients that he'll get from Shakeology will help his body to sort of repair the whatever sort of damage, or at least help his body to cope with the fact that he's going through a lot of stress from the pain, and obviously throwing off his body and it's pretty hard to function when you're in pain all the time. So
he's sitting all day too, because he's a dentist, so that's not helping, and I think he's overcompensating too. So yeah.
So and did you say it was a chiropractor that he's gone to, or a physiotherapist?
Yeah, mostly chiro.
Chiro, okay. Yeah, has he been to a physio at all, or
no?
No. Not maybe. He may need to go to if it's a sports injury, which essentially a gym is a sports injury. It may be worth going to a good physiotherapist who has a good understanding of musculature and ligature, and see if there's something there. But yeah, definitely again, the nutrients he's going to get will help his body, and especially again with those adaptogens and things to help boost his immune system. But it will help to try and balance out his system and the stress that it's causing on his body right now.
Yeah. Awesome.
Monica has a great question, then we'll probably wrap up here. She says, just to confirm, Shako does not have any chemicals or artificial sweeteners. And then did you notice any chemicals or artificial sweeteners in isogenics?
Well, I think I think I've got the ingredients list here.
Yes, you can confirm that Shakeology does not have any artificial chemicals or sweeteners. Sorry, I can confirm that one for you. Good question though. But sorry, go ahead and pull up if you have the isogenics.
So when I was looking at one of the isogenics, I pulled up the ingredients list for the vanilla shake. Vanilla shake, she's got the whey protein concentrate, which again is just cheap terms. Sorry. Then you've got like, when you go through, you've got low heat, non-fat, dry milk. But then they've got one of the, so because when it comes to ingredients, they're supposed to put like biggest to smallest basically. But then you've got natural flavors. And I don't like the term natural flavors, because natural flavors, now I think I have seen that in Shakeology, but it specifically says what those natural flavors are. Natural flavors can just be a total pile of rubbish. Rubbish is my favorite word because I don't want to swear, because normally I would swear anyway. That was not, yeah. I don't know if I noticed too much. I mean, some of these, like, I don't know where they're being derived from. Like, you know, I just don't like the fact that like, that one of the, in the major, you know, obviously your whey protein concentrate is going to be like that's your first ingredient. So that's what there is the most of, but you know, it's, what is it? It's like, I don't know, number 5 or 6 on the list is natural flavors. And it's like, well, what is natural flavors and why is there so much of it in there? So I reckon that there's something pretty dodgy about that one. And I wouldn't trust it at all. But yeah, I don't know if I have seen anything that specifically says, like artificial flavors, but it does say, you know, you've got your soy ingredients, and, you know, just so everybody knows, if soy is not organic, it's genetically modified. And so it's best to stay away from.
So I mean, that's a good point. Jody asked, is Shakeology fine for celiac? And I would say, like, Shakeology is, I know this one, like, it's not certified gluten-free because it is manufactured in a place that may have cross-contamination with other things. It's the only reason it's not certified. It is a gluten-free product. I have had many celiacs drink it and have no issues, but I think it really depends on the sensitivity of the celiac. And I think that, again, that has to be something that they either try or decide, or, you know, check with their doctor on. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, samples are really good for that, I think, to help people. And I always recommend people who have digestive issues like that. I think it's always really important for them to start with like a half serving of Shakeology, because because of the pre and probiotics in it, it can really make your system like get busy. So I think people can get very confused with what that feeling is based on other digestive issues. So I always recommend that they just start with like a little bit at a time.
Yeah, especially as you said with like the probiotics, especially probiotic. If your gut flora is off in any sort of way, and you're starting to introduce all these like new, you know, beneficial bacteria, you can start like, it can actually bloat you like you wouldn't believe, and that while your body is trying to like balance itself out. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Awesome. Thank you so much. I know, you know, I hope that this really answered things for everybody. You know, when I asked April, like, sort of how you would describe Shakeology, like, it really does come down to that. Like, it is really your daily dose of dense nutrition. Like, there's just no other way you can get that kind of nutrition, at least anywhere around North America that we know of, in one go.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Way. So they've done a good job of taglining it that.
Yeah. And it is really worth, like, you know, if you got customers who are skeptical, you know, it's an investment into your health, and an investment, you know, you can invest in your health now through food and exercise, or you can pay a doctor later. You know, and that's how I see when it comes to my family, when it comes to myself. You know, it may cost me a few extra dollars more, but I'd rather pay the few extra dollars more than like the giant pharmaceutical bills that they'll whack you with later on if you've got health problems. So
yeah, if you haven't taken care of yourself. There's one last question about constipation. Sorry, do you think, because I feel like I hear a lot of people talk about how they are very regular. It was interesting to hear you say that if your gut flora is off a little, the probiotics can make you feel bloated, because I've had people say that to me and I didn't really understand why. But is it possible with any, like, would there be a reason for constipation to happen with this?
Well, if you're not drinking enough water, like, I mean, a lot of people forget to drink enough water. Like, I mean, on a daily basis, you're supposed to drink 2 liters of water. But if you're also then working out, and then you are, you know, you're having something like Shakeology, which then requires like, you know, if you want your body to, you know, sweep through, you know, like your food, you need to have adequate amounts of water. And again, you're working out 30 minutes a day, you need more water. People barely drink water as is. Like, you know, So I think that could definitely be a contributing factor. It could also be the fact that, yeah, your body's trying to cope with, new probiotics, like all these new things that are in your system. And again, if you've, all it takes is, a couple courses of antibiotics because you've been sick in the past, totally wipe out your gut flora, and you got to start from scratch. And it can take a while, and doing things like that can, having all these new probiotics and prebiotics coming into your system can really throws the whole, like the balance of it off, and then you can end up feeling constipated. In the world of detoxification, we always say it gets worse before it gets better. Like, whenever I've recommended detoxes to people, you get people coming back going, oh, I feel so awful. It's like, well, that's good. You need to feel awful before you feel better. It's your body like trying to get rid of crap and balance itself out, and then you'll feel awesome. But sometimes it takes that time, and you've got to persist. So it could be that when people start, they're, and if you experience any constipation, it could be not adequate amounts of water, or the body just trying to balance itself out with all these new nutrients. Because again, the average Joe's diet is pretty terrible. Like, people don't realize it. It's amazing how many times people are like, oh, but I've got a good diet. I've got a really great diet. I'm like, oh, your diet's really that great. Okay, well, tell me where you're getting your zinc from. Where are you getting your magnesium from? And people have got no idea. I'm like, well, how do you know you've got a good diet? So everyone thinks they've got a good diet, but the average Joe's diet is not a very good diet. And having something like this, where suddenly your body is flooded with so many nutrients, can really, throw the body system off a little bit initially before it starts to balance itself out. So
I like that. It always gets worse before it gets better. And I think that's really valuable, because there's very few things that are good for you that give you a quick fix. Yeah. So it's really important to understand you have to persist and push through and go on. So
as good old Autumn says, there's no magic pill.
Hard work. Thank you so much, April. I really appreciate it. Mom,
I hope that was helpful, and for you guys.
Was it helpful, guys? Yes, we're getting lots of fun.
Any questions along the way? Like, feel free to shoot me a Facebook message or Bria Facebook message
and harass her now.
Forward things on to me as well. I'm more than happy to answer questions. And if I'm never ever able to answer questions, as I said, my partner he's a naturopath and a master herbalist, so he almost always has an answer if I don't have one. So yeah,
awesome.
I'm open.
Yay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much. Enjoy diving into Quarter Force this week as we launch it out. And if you have, let's keep the Shakeology convos going, because the more we know, I think the more confident we are in talking about what a valuable product we consume every day and how to share it with other people. But thanks so much for hopping on Wednesday night, and have a really, really great week. Bye, everyone.